Welcome into NFL Live, where we start today with breaking news, and it is not good. Panthers second-year linebacker Nick Scorton was carted off the practice field today with a knee injury during the team's first on-field practice of training camp. Scorton coming off a 5-sack rookie season in Carolina. NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe is at Panthers camp today. Cam, not what the Panthers wanted to see on the first day of training camp. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, Graz, I just got news a few minutes ago that tests revealed that linebacker Nick Scorton suffered a torn ACL in his right knee. Brutal news for the Panthers, brutal news for Scorton, who is expected to have a huge year 2 impact for the Panthers. You mentioned his 5 sacks, but the thought was he was going to be a really strong duo with their highly priced pass rusher, Jalen Phillips. And I was there at practice and watched it, and he took an awkward step towards the end of practice, and he fell down. And I've watched a lot of practices. I haven't seen many where a player gets carted off and every single player comes up and hugs them. There are players kneeling around, and you can feel the heaviness of the impact and the injury. And unfortunately for the Panthers, the test revealed the bad news that they were fearing. And so for the Panthers, they're going to have to replace him. But I just wanted to give you guys insight of how the team is reacting. And after practice, I got a chance to talk with linebacker Jalen Phillips about his emotions of seeing his teammate go down so close to him.
Obviously, we don't really know what it is yet, but just regardless of what it is, I know that feeling, man. I've been there, unfortunately, multiple times, and I know how frustrating it is. And Nick is someone who just cares so much about the game, does everything right, man. Such a great dude. So you hate to see it, but ultimately, man, I know that he is the type of guy, bro, that he's going to have a great mindset no matter what it is, and he's going to attack it, and he's going to be thankful to God for giving him the opportunity. And ultimately, like I said, he has a good head on his shoulders, so he's going to be good regardless.
Now, Phillips was a big portion of the Panthers' plan to solve their pressure issues, and he's going to have to step up even bigger with Scorton out. I talked with head coach Dave Canales after practice off to the side, and he mentioned to me that, look, Scorton's a huge part of this. We can't truly replace him, but he mentioned Pat Jones, a veteran free agent they signed a couple of years ago, and Princely, a young rookie they drafted a year ago, as 2 guys to help. They also could look in the free agency market to get an upgrade, but on what was a hopeful, optimistic day for the Panthers to start, as the rain comes down here in Carolina, shortly a somber way to end day 1 for Carolina.
Cam Wolfe with the very latest from down there at Panthers training camp, and of course not the way they want to start their training camp, as they and the Cardinals opening early because they play the Hall of Fame game. How big a loss is this for their defense?
Well, you guys covered a lot of it. You and Cam did, Graz. But let's start here. Why did the Panthers go out and spend $120 million on Jalen Phillips this offseason? The answer is they're looking for a lot of pass rushing answers. You already saw on the bottom of your screen that Scorton had 5 sacks, which is tied for the most amongst all Panthers last season. Players often see their biggest jump between their rookie and their second season in the NFL. Lots of reasons for the Panthers to be optimistic about Scorton's impact this upcoming year. And then I think, and you both mentioned it, but it can't be overstated, we've been waiting for months for training camp. Yeah. They have been getting geared up for what feels like it could be an improved defense for a playoff team last year that, by the way, went toe-to-toe with the Rams for a lot of that wild card game. This was not a team that, despite their record, was an easy out in the playoffs. And on the first day, we're talking about one of their best, most promising young players on defense, specifically going down with an injury. So a tough blow for Carolina on day 1.
Yeah, Carolina does feel like they have some of their strongest depth at this position, so I don't expect them to overreact. Princely Umanmielen is a player they drafted in 25 right after Nick Scorton. Yep. Scorton was considered the steadier player, but Umanmielen has the bigger upside. So they're going to need that upside in a big way for him to develop. They have Patrick Jones, a veteran who can slide in there. But what's devastating for Carolina is they felt like 2026, they had finally rebuilt this defense to a point of respectability. It had been 2 years of struggles and really subpar personnel. Finally got it to a good place. Scorton was a big part of that. Now he's out and they have to replace him.
By the way, their most reliable offensive lineman, Taylor Moton, dealing with blood clots now as well. So a tough injury start for Carolina, and we haven't even put the pads on yet, and Carolina already hitting the injury phase.
Yeah, tough news. Panthers, of course, enter the season as defending NFC South champions in a division where no one had a winning record last year. So high hopes down there to see how they recover. New on NFL Live from the Raiders, the wait is over. That's an is. It's a 15 because that's Fernando Mendoza's number. Agreement today on a 4-year, $57.2 million contract. Mendoza, of course, the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Raiders rookies having reported to camp. Now Mendoza is allowed to get to work. And our Raiders reporter, Ryan McFadden, joins the show now. Ryan, day one for Fernando Mendoza and the Raiders rookies. What are you hearing about Las Vegas's plan for the quarterback position this season?
Yeah, Graz, the expectations remain the same. Kirk Cousins is expected to be the starter to begin the season, given just his familiarity with Clint Kubiak's offense, and during the offseason program, he took the majority of the first team reps during practice. Now, that does not mean Fernando Mendoza will not have a chance. The expectation is for Mendoza to get his fair share of first team reps when training camp begins next week. But the Raiders have made it very clear that they want to be patient in Mendoza's development, even if that means Cousins starts the first few weeks as a starter, or even starts the entire season in that role, depending on how he and the Raiders are performing.
Raiders, of course, want to make sure he's 100% ready for the NFL by the time they put him in. Thanks very much, Ryan McFadden. Along with the new quarterback comes a new head coach. Clint Kubiak had great success running the Seahawks offense as their offensive coordinator last season. That offense ranked top 10 in the NFL in yards per attempt, completion percentage, scoring, and sack avoidance as well. They also won the Super Bowl, which is a stat that doesn't show up on there, but is important.
Yeah.
Time will tell if he's able to work the same magic in Las Vegas this season with Cousins and Mendoza. Ryan referenced it. Cousins and Kubiak know each other. They were together in Minnesota. So Kubiak knows what he has in Cousins while Mendoza gets ready. What do you think Mendoza has to show in camp or early in the season to prove he's ready?
Yeah, Graz, there are some physical things that's important for Fernando Mendoza to show in training camp. You know, footwork, mechanics, things that any young quarterback would have to show during his rookie training camp. Other than that, though, it is all the mental for Fernando Mendoza, because the reality is physically his skill set is superior, perhaps far superior to Kirk Cousins at this juncture of his career and Kirk Cousins' career. But Kirk Cousins knows this offense about as well as anybody who's not on the Raiders coaching staff, Clint Kubiak and his assistants. And I think when you're dealing with a young quarterback, there's an innate pressure on that player because he's the number one overall pick. And I get it. Fans are going to want to see it. Frankly, I want to see him play as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But this allows the team to alleviate a little bit of the pressure from Fernando Mendoza, perhaps have him learn some things from the sidelines. You can't learn it all, but there are some things you can glean from the sidelines, and allow Kirk Cousins, who even if physically is not at the apex of his career, that's well behind him, knows this offense well enough that he can function it properly, and Mendoza can see exactly what goes into this system, and then eventually add the physical traits that he brings to the table, and this offense can reach the heights that it hopes to have.
Field, you mentioned innate pressure. That's perfect, because when I talk to people with Las Vegas, they say the pressure's off. It's kind of a relief that they don't have to rush him out there week one, for better or worse. If they were to have him go through the next 3 weeks in camp and he's not ready, they still have to play him, that would be daunting. But they have Cousins in place, and sources there say, look, Cousins is well positioned, yes, but we'll see how training camp goes. If Mendoza is just lights out for the next month and looks awesome, they have that flexibility to play him. The parallel I like is the 2024 Patriots, when they had Drake May, started Jacoby Brissett, see how it goes, play him 4 or 5 games. If they don't win, you slide the rookie in at that point.
I think there are reasons to feel that if a rookie plays all 17 games, like I think if you ask Cam Ward, he would tell you that some of the lowest moments he experienced, especially at the beginning of last year, will prove valuable to his development over time. I also think if you ask Drake May whether watching Jacoby Brissett for a handful of games as a rookie was also valuable to him. And it's obvious, not that it wasn't then, but I mean, Drake May nearly won MVP last year. This just in. He is and was way better than Jacoby Brissett. But there are two schools of thought. You don't have to say that one way or the other definitely works. So for the Raiders, they've committed to this plan, and it underscores a theme that I think has been important throughout this offseason. Timelines and continuity are finally in place in Las Vegas, which they were definitely not last year.
With the first year